Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
So, since there are several perspectives within system approach, like say behavioral approach, so within behavioral approach you have several theories. Classical approach, so within that approach you have several theories. Similarly, system approach, there are several theories. One itself is behavioral from Mary Parker Follett, Bernard Simon. So they have given their view from system perspective. Political system is David Easton. So he has given that view, that is called black box model of system theory or David Easton model of system theory. Then Norbert Wiener, so he gave for the first time clear understanding about system on the basis of servo mechanism, and cybernetic system means there is a feedback mechanism. So he has explained, we will also talk that. There is also general system theory by Bertalan Fee, means he is the first person to, basically the idea of system originates from Bertalan Fee. So this Ludwig van Bertalan Fee. So idea, let's say that originates from his concept of system. So because of that, this is how it is. Because a question is asked, this type of question they have asked, that system approach is about or system approach consists of several perspectives. So there are various views within system perspective. So that is what you have to explain these things. So since, yes, your question just reminded me to tell all these things in advance itself. Once they have asked this modern organization theory, to compare modern organization theory with comparative public administrations, people who are not able to understand what is modern organization theory. We also say it as open model. Question has already been asked, Barnard, system perspective. Barnard, system perspective question has been asked, plus this question has also been asked. Same year they asked both questions, Barnard and David Easton. We have been expecting a question on this Norbert Wiener model of socio-cybernetic system. He is the originator of the idea, so we don't expect a question on that. So let's take that one by one about system. Let's write first introduction, then we'll do. The systems theory emerged during 1950s. Which was influenced by works by Bertalan Fee and Wiener in the field of system. That there were developments in field of social sciences. About not only dynamic aspects of organization, but also the environment of organization, and its influence on organization. So far, public administration had experienced classical approach, human relation and behavioral approach, but they had flaws. Like they focused on one aspect of organization, relegating the other. Therefore, system approach was also in a way culmination of 5 decades of developments in field of organization theory. In terms of formulating a holistic model of organization, which incorporates both structural, behavioral and environmental factors. And hence system theory is also an integrated model of organization. Which also profoundly influence the field of organization theory. As it generated further research and developments and influenced emergence of contingency theory of organization and comparative public administration. So that is an introduction. Let's write further. The idea of system originated in the field of biology from the work of Burton Lanfy, known as general system theory. In which he highlighted how in ecosystem organisms are interdependent, interrelated, and how they are influenced by environment. His general system theory influence social sciences, including behavioral science, and system approach started getting its attention in field of sociology, political science, anthropology, natural sciences, including engineering, and also in public administration. That organizational analysis cannot ignore the environment in which organization functions. And therefore, system perspective became dominant during 1950s in the evolution of field of organization theory. Although it is not but a lengthy work which resulted into attention by thinkers, although it became basis for propounding concept of system and formulating system theory, but already in the field of organization theory, system perspective idea was given first by Mary Parker Follett, considering organization as social system. Next, Chester Barnard, considering organization as cooperative social system. Kurt Lewin, giving the idea of Gestalt psychology. That whole is more than sum of its parts. And Herbert Simon explained his decision-making theory from systems perspective. That is the behavioral school of thought. Has focused on organization also from systems perspective. However, their main focus was on dynamics of human behavior. Relegating technical subsystem or formal structural aspects of organization. that classical approach focused on formal, structural and relegated behavioral human relation behavioral approach focus on dynamics of human behavior, relegated formal and structural. System theory integrates both. Right. By focusing on formal structural and dynamics of human behavior as two subsystems in a system. Two subsystems in a system. At the same time, also considering other factors, including environment. Hence, system theory is not merely combination of classical approach and human relation behavioral approach. Human relations behavioral approach. So ये तो अभी वार्म अप है. Means already these things we have told here and there, so nothing we have told that you cannot understand. Real things now start means what system theory. So let's understand what is system. So organization itself is considered as system. They see organization as system. Now, how in past, let's say that organization was seen. Right? So organization was seen by classical approach. What they see classical approach?
Formal structure.
So they see organization as either closed system, you can say, right? Or you can say that it is formal, structural, or we can say that man, material and machine. That is how they see this. And what behavioral theory thinks about organization?
Dynamics of human behavior.
So their focus, they see organization in terms of dynamic entity. Dynamic entity, they consider also it as system. No. They consider it also as social system in which they focus on dynamics of human behavior. So even if let's say that they consider organization as dynamics of human behavior, they consider organization as closed system. So what we have said? We have said that if this is organization, so one is focusing, let's say, mechanical. So this is behavioral focus, this is mechanical. And we think that both will result into achieving efficiency. No. That is how. So one consider organization as dynamic entity, so it has focus on behavior. Another consider organization mechanical, so it is focusing on mechanical, technical side. And if we combine both, it can become, let's say that full view or broad view, and that will result into efficiency. Like say to some extent they have tried to also balance formal and informal, formal organization, informal organization. So, but their focus is on behavioral primarily. So they will relegate this, and their focus is primarily on this. They will relegate this. So by this time you reach to 1950s, the developments. So that reached to 1950s, and then they think that this will result into efficiency. Now, what system does? Although they have considered social system, etc., but they have not defined, they have not dealt with what is system, what system consists of, how system operates. So that they have not told. So that's why they have not fully formulated a system theory. Rather, they have formulated their theory from a system perspective. But they have not told what is system, what are the components of system, how system operates, the characteristics of system, etc. So those things they have not explained. So that is what, let's say now, systems improvement. So they consider organization itself is a system. So when organization itself is a system, we consider organization itself is a system. So that system idea means we say that this organization has its, let's say, interaction with environment. They will say. So there is interaction with environment. Then this system will consist. So consist of subparts. So there would be subparts. Which subparts we can say as subsystem also. Subsystem. Like say they are the two subsystems, subparts. One formal, other behavioral. So they can be considered as subpart of organization. Plus other parts can also be. So system, it consists of subparts. This, then this subparts, summation of subparts will be more than merely their sum. That is called whole. So they will create a unity whole, a unified whole. The system will create a unified whole. So it is not, let's say that when we combine, let's say, behavioral and mechanical, if it is mechanical is 1, that is what in Barnard case we told. Then we combine 1 plus 1. It will not become 2, it will become 11. That is whole. That we told in contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium theory. So this, then they will say this. So they will create whole. That whole in their language is called synergy. This. So a term they will use synergy. Then they will say interrelated. Subparts are interrelated. Subparts are interrelated. So when they are interrelated, interdependent, so this they say as holism, a term they use. Holism means subparts and they will be interdependent. Change in one will have influence on other. This. And then organization and subparts will have interaction with environment. So they will have interaction with environment. Means they will have interaction with environment. So subpart we create. So if I say this is an organization. So they are subparts. Now this is environment. So they will have interaction among themselves. So subparts, if I write intra-organizational interaction, and then they will let's say have interaction with inter-organizational interaction. Interaction with environment. This. So, and then finally let's say that it's interaction with outside environment, interaction among themselves, the changes experienced, the totality of that change will ultimately determine survival of that organization, or will ultimately determine what we say efficiency of that organization. This. So the boundaries that they have, it is not blurred, it is still distinguishable. The another feature is called that they have permeable boundary that can be penetrated. Means permeable boundary means this interaction, permeable boundaries, but distinguishable. This, and they are, let's say that aim for, the system aim for, means organization aim for equilibrium, or we say dynamic equilibrium. Dynamic equilibrium. And if they are able to maintain dynamic equilibrium, they will survive. So this dynamic equilibrium means then they will survive. Survival means sufficiency. So it means features I will not dictate, they are the features also. Features of system. How do you have started? Characteristics. So features of system are characteristics. This. But it is not only in that way. Let's say now thinkers will go and give finer explanation of that. They will further explain it. We have given here explanation. Explanation is let's say like there are different subparts. So subparts is one can be behavioral. If we write like this, one subpart. So one subpart can be, let's say that behavioral. Another subpart can be technical. Another subpart can be managerial. To control all, the managerial, right? This can be related to personal. means different types of, let's say, organization, let's say, functions. Organizations, that way you can say that an organization has different departments, and organization has different functions, that, and they have interaction among themselves. So here they were not talking, let's say, the relationship, that how behavioral is dependent on mechanical, mechanical is dependent on behavioral. So this kind of thing. Rather, they have shown on the one side the relevance of behavioral, other side this. Although, let's say, matrix structure is in a way that how when behavior is introduced, the structure undergoes changes. But what they are saying is that if there is change in behavioral, there will be change in technical. If there is change in technical, there will be change in behavioral. Can we say? The change in one may result into change in other. And that change can come from the environment, or it itself can bring change in environment, both way. The environment influences organization, organization influences environment, how it is. So the system means organization itself is being explained as a system. They were considering organization as a closed system or social system, but they consider organization not organization, but system itself is an organization. So when we say system theory, it is also an organization theory. But it is said modern organization theory. That's why we say modern organization theory. So, because it is the view coming during 1950s. So in that way, and further let's explain what others have explained, means how it has been further explained in more finer way. Before I will give a let's say that conceptual explanation, let's take example how any organization is working on that basis. So any example you can take of, either you can take example of organization, but let's take any example of any college or university. See, this college or university, it will have different subparts. Can we say? There will be different subparts. There can be physics department, political science department. It has also administrative department. No. So administrative department, etc. Now it operates in an environment, this college, can we say? This college operates in larger environment, bigger environment. Let's say if you talk Delhi universities, its environment is Delhi. This, so it can be environment. Delhi has environment. Now it does not operate in vacuum. So you will have here what? Students. Then you get teachers. Then you get funds. You get technology. No, that is how in general we can say staff, personnel, you can say other aspect. So where you also get them from environment. We are getting them from environment. No. Now, what it produces, by the way, its output.
Education, careers,
right, degrees, no, और क्या है? Research, right. Any other thing?
human capital,
Right. So This.
Depends on politician.
Now, the question is that their quality. Because we are concerned about efficiency, quality. What, let's say that classical theory is focusing. Classical theory say that if you focus on this aspect, only organization, and this only on formal aspect of organization, then you will get efficiency. It means it is considering closed system, it is not taking into consideration this. Right. Behavioral theory to some extent, if you remember Chester Barnard, social, biological, physical limitation, he does have consideration of this. They will influence, but he focuses again more inside organization. So this organization, according to classical approach, they will not take them into consideration. They will say that inside, if you make it efficient, it is efficient. So that's why it gets dissociated from outside environment. Behavioral theory does have focus, but it is not taking in that finer way. Now, can you tell that any such factor, how it influences organization? Technology. So what technology has influenced?
Teaching methods.
Teaching methods. The technology has brought PowerPoint presentation. No. Tag it teacher.
The latest research equipments.
Teacher can enjoy on WhatsApp. Students can see PPT. Smart board, isn't it? So, आजकल स्मार्ट बोर्ड पे teaching होता है. Teacher is involved in research and students are watching on a smart board. Anyhow, so PPT, right? PPT has influence, right? Means technology has influence. Let's take in a positive way. They will find inside organization very good technology. Let's say that you will have computer, you will have supercomputer, you can have many different labs, different types of devices you will have. That you can do finer level of calculation. You can simulate the things, isn't it? The technology has help in precision, can we say? Precision.
Yes, sir.
Technology has help in precision of our human prediction. So that we can say. So that is how it has influence, let's say. Technology has influence, but when technology has influence, so suppose let's say that this department, so this department may be practicing some old techniques, then it will go under adaptation, and it will have to adopt a new one, discontinue the old one. And then when it will discontinue the old one, so don't you think it will have effect on other departments?
Yes, sir.
So that is how, let's say that one factor is influencing inside organization, technology. So even if let's say that it was efficient, let's say old method was efficient, even if old method was efficient, but the new method has come, new technology has come, so then under new technology it appears to be something old, and if it will not adapt to that new one, so it will not be producing good quality. This, like we say that, let's take different way, the syllabus. The syllabus is designed in 1990 and do we have 2021. By the time, let's say, changes have happened. Already many things have changed in environment, and still you are teaching 1990 syllabus. So what you will produce here? Degrees without quality.
No innovation. Degrees without market value.
Without market value.
Huge gap between market demands and degrees.
Yes. So the question, you can see the direct link between what organization is receiving from environment then let's say that ki is influencing. So what we are receiving from environment, what it receives from environment is influencing it. Now, merely receiving from environment may not result into desired output. It is how the inside environment is operating, isn't it? How the inside environment, what is the environment in the university? What is the culture in the university? So merely let's say that change will not. I will give one example, EduSat. The EduSat was launched in 2004. And it was told that it will bring revolution in education in India. We have 2021. अभी तक तो कुछ revolution आया नहीं. Right. Now what it did is that it is a technology. Now in college you don't need teacher. EduSat, there is satellite based teaching. So in classroom, then let's say that only there is electronic board, smart board. There is no teacher. And students will sit in the class and they will study. Even let's say that in far-flung area, in rural areas where teachers are not present, quality teachers, EduSat will help them to get quality of education. What happened?
So no human interaction, only machine.
No human interaction. वैसे ही बच्चे क्लास में नहीं जाते हैं. जब टीचर नहीं रहेगा तो बच्चे और भी क्लास में नहीं जाएंगे. Isn't it?
चलाने के लाइट भी चाहिए.
कॉलेज टाइम सोचो आप, उस समय क्या मन करता है कि क्लास ही नहीं चले, मतलब कॉलेज बंद हो जाए, छुट्टी हो जाए, कुछ हो जाए. Isn't it? So the question is that, let's say that, so what we are trying to say, merely change in technology will not bring change here. No, inside also you will have to change. So how effective you are inside different departments, whether they are incorporating, they are not incorporating, they are serious, they are not serious. तो पहले क्या था, लेट मी टेल दैट कि स्मार्ट बोर्ड आ जाएगा तो स्मार्ट टीचिंग होगा, बट स्मार्ट बोर्ड आ गया तो टीचिंग और पैसिव हो गया. Right. Unless you supervise properly. So what है, टीचर ने स्मार्ट बोर्ड शुरू कर दिया. It is like TV screen. Right. And teacher is sitting here somehow, and I know first-hand experience. That's why I'm saying. So teacher, let's say, is busy in, let's say, phone, and children are seeing this. Children come and say that कि अगर टीवी ही देखना है तो स्कूल जाने की क्या ज़रूरत है, घर में भी स्मार्ट टीवी है. So it's not, let's say that this, it is not necessary that if you introduce a smart board, so it is resulting into quality of education. The inside is also important. It is not outside. How you adapt, and then finally the output comes. Now the output comes, so then by the time you, let's say, start this their change, you introduce change, by the time you deliver, and then let's say by the time again environment changes. Isn't it? So a project is started, let's say that, in college a project is started in 2015, and let's say it has to be delivered in 2000, let's say that 19, and by 2019 already there is change in environment, so whether the project output is relevant or not. This, so that will also be seen. So that is how it let's say it does not see only from one way, let's say that. So an organization, even a college, let's say that a college is product of its environment, and environment has profound effect. That we told in a more academic way. Let's take in a more Indian way. Right. कॉलेज अगर वो दिल्ली में है तो थोड़ा ठीक ठाक है. कॉलेज अगर वो इलाहाबाद में है तो पता ही है वहाँ पे एक्सट्रेनियस एलिमेंट्स होते हैं एनवायरनमेंट में. नो, एक्सट्रेनियस एलिमेंट, गुंडागर्दी, वो ऐसे स्टडी में नहीं है यहाँ पर. पॉलिटिकल एनवायरनमेंट, स्टूडेंट्स यूनियन, नो, Do you know in Haryana why student union election is not done? वैसे भी हरियाणा के लोग काफ़ी aggressive होते हैं. So the question is that student union, they do not allow college to function properly. That is another ecological factor, right? And Delhi environment, right? So Delhi government, union government, that factor. So it's not only one factor, let's say that, but they are more political, ecological factor, which we'll talk in comparative public administration. And similarly, let's say that how college, university operates and their productivity. Let me tell you one problem what they face. College in our country, they struggle to get good teachers. Good teachers. Because teaching is not very attractive job considered. Especially the premium institutions. So when they are not getting good teachers, so what will happen? Teaching will suffer. And then we have introduced contract-based teachers. We have introduced contract-based teachers, not regular recruitment. And if here there is biasness, already you know that how it happens, teacher recruitment. So there are other factors, let's say, which will influence, but system theory does not focus, it is more academic, it focuses more on that kind of factors, and that is how it will happen. So what you get? Now let's say that degree research, that we have human resource, their value, quality. If value is good, so what happens? This is the feedback. So this is the feedback. Good. The good feedback will, what it will do?
Encourage.
Right. It will encourage all students from all across the country. That's why they want to get admission in Delhi University. Teachers will also be, they will also be interested to join universities. Government will also give more fund. Right. And technological support also it can get. Okay. This. So then it builds a good image. Then inside also, let's say that environment will be more, let's say that satisfactory, more enjoying, more contentful, because it has a good image. The image of the university is good. Image of the college is good. That will set certain benchmark, etc. It will help in maintaining discipline also. It will help in operationalizing that college. So feedback system, you can see how feedback system influences. And that is called, let's say, that is what Norbert Wiener has explained this process. So this system process has been explained also in a finer way by Norbert. So we'll talk that aspect. Okay. But before that, let's take another example. Then we'll finally talk about all these things. Let's take that nano example, which we often give. Nano. The nano car, Tata got the idea they got from environment. Idea came from environment, that how a family of 4 persons, so somehow it manages in a scooter, husband, wife, 2 children. So he got the idea that if we bring a small car which is very cost effective, so it can cater to the interest of that kind of people in society. So that is how the car idea they got from environment, that is called input. Now you know that they went for, you will have to have industry, means you will have to set up any manufacturing center. To set up manufacturing sector, they acquired land in West Bengal. But you know Nandigram and Singur protest, etc. You know. So they acquire land, right? So again environment, and how protests etc. happened. Then the industry was that manufacturing was shifted to Gujarat. So it was shifted to Gujarat, but that's not the point. The point is that let's say this manufacturing center is set up, and they start operating this car, nano car. They produce it. So as far as setting it is since a manufacturing company, so there is no difficulty. Manufacturing company already they have their expertise in that field, the fund etc. they have. It has less human aspect. Now by the time output let's say comes, so what happens in market? Demand. What is the feedback? What is the feedback of nano car?
Let's say कौन यूज करेगा बाइक सस्ती कार है इट्स लाइक दैट साइकोलॉजी
Right. So they say that it is cheap.
Quality is not good.
Cheap car. Right. This is the feedback they get. Now think he gets the idea that if car is cost effective, so then let's say that it will be sold in the market. But then feedback you receive is that people do not only want to buy car, people also want to get status associated with that. And people will not buy a car where their status is not improved. This now, if you see what classical theory says that it is a manufacturing center, it is producing efficiently. Right. There is efficiency, there is no problem at that level. Or Fordism also you can take. Efficiency, productivity is there, production is there. But what you get ultimately feedback. Even if there is efficiency, but still it will not survive. This. So merely talking about efficiency, what classical theory is talking, so that is not going to work. You have to see this environment because they operate in an environment. Now what happens, let's say, now by the time this idea was conceived here, and then it was, let's say that output came, there was change in environment. What change in environment? No idea. Other companies launch their small car.
The price was
High, but they also came up with a small car. No.
The car's quality was good compared to nano.
Yes, quality was better. Cost was also, let's say, a bit more. Cost was more, but the question is that other companies also launch by the time your car comes in market. Other companies have also brought their small car. And when they have brought a small car, so that will have to compete. This car will have to compete with them. Right. So this also we have to understand how an organization survives. An organization cannot survive merely on the basis of, you can say, what it produces. Right. Whether that is being demanded in the market or not. This is first. And second, that by the time we bring a product in market, what is the scenario that time? Right. Because it changes. Like it is like the teaching, let's say that suppose we are teaching, you will appear in men's in 2022, some may be in 2023. So when we are teaching today, so whether it will remain relevant by 2022, that is the concern, isn't it? Because by the time UPSC standard will improve. a bit, although it remains same or it will improve. नीचे तो जाएगी नहीं UPSC, isn't it? So this you have to understand. By the time pace of learning also changes, right? Learning pace is also changing. Educational pattern is also changing. So this we have to see. So that is what they are showing, let's say feedback. So environment is not working at input level, environment is also working here also when you said manufacturing center and West Bengal environment. The West Bengal told that कि आप shift कर जाइए गुजरात. Right. And Tata lost 600 crore in this. So environment, let's say that. Gujarat provides business friendly environment. The environment here is working. Then again output comes, again environment is working. And finally the feedback will, let's say that, help in survival of that organization. This is system theory. Okay. So system theory will see an organization from a system perspective. And it is all this is organismic whole. All such calculations, that is called unified whole concept, we say that. So when we say unified whole, the unified whole means inside all the subsystems, its input, its output, its interaction with environment, all these things on the whole, what they are going to give you the view. Okay. And that will help in survival of organization. So they see organization from a macro perspective. It is a macro analysis of organization. So macro perspective, although they do take into consideration subsystems, but it is a macro way of relating organization with environment and then giving a model of, let's say, organization theory, which they want to formulate, let's say, model for all organization theory, how organizations can survive. And this has been explained by the thinkers which will talk thereafter. Are you able to understand this?
Sir, can we say that BSNL and MTNL also faced this problem?
Yes, any organization. That other examples I want to take later stage, but any example you can take. You can take Bajaj example, right? Vespa. You can take example of Nokia, right? Its mobile phone. The ones used to dominate in the world. एंड उस समय जब नोकिया फ़ोन डोमिनेट करता था तो सैमसंग कोई नहीं बाय करना चाहता था. आई स्टिल रिमेंबर दैट टाइम. सैमसंग के जिसके पास फ़ोन हो रहा था वो छुपाता था, राइट. ही विल हैव टू हाइड हिज फोन, राइट. इसलिए कि सैमसंग वाज ऑफ लो क्वालिटी, नोकिया वाज ऑफ हाई क्वालिटी. आजकल तो एप्पल चल रहा है, इजंट इट? एप्पल, एवरीथिंग इज फ्रॉम हेड टॉप टू डेस्कटॉप, राइट, टू पॉकेट टॉप, सब एप्पल हो गया है, राइट. सो द क्वेश्चन इज दैट नाउ, एंड प्लस Samsung is out, let's say, giving good competition to Apple, right? So you can see how the things happen. So they failed to adopt, they did not survive, although they redesigned and they have survived. Nokia failed to adopt, it did not survive. Now they are coming again in market with quite improved version of things. So this way it is showing, let's say, that an organization which is highly efficient today, so tomorrow it will not be very efficient. No, Ford as a company and General Electric, once they remained, you know that, but nowadays they face challenges. Adaptability. The system theory is saying there should be adaptability. An organization will survive. That's why it is bringing concept of entropy. Entropy is disintegration. Okay. So organizations differentiate and adopt, so they survive. Organization differentiate and do not survive, means do not adopt, so do not survive. So system theory uses concept of negative entropy. Right. Positive entropy means differentiation, lack of adoption, so not non-survival. And negative entropy means it is about differentiation plus adaptation, and then there is survival. The organizations will have to differentiate. Differentiate means they will have to bring changes. They will have to bring changes inside. If there is a change in technology, they will have to bring change. And then there's this change merely how they are able to adapt. Even if EduSat came, but they were not able to adapt. When they were not able to adapt, so it was not successful. So merely a good technology is not going to help organizations survive. Adaptability of that organization, and not all organizations are adaptable. And when they are not adaptable, let's say that, so they will fail to survive. That's why over 80%, 90% organizations means business. So over 80 to 90% business do not survive after 1 and 2 years. Only 10% business survive. Right. But good thing is that human has tendency to keep trying. But bureaucracy does not have this survival trait. This will talk in contingency theory. Right? So that's why it does not adapt, because it does not have survival trait. But others, let's say that organizations, they will have to adapt, and those who will not adapt, they will not survive. Let's take COVID situation. COVID situation, many institutions, coaching institutions, those who are offline only, so they were simply shut down. This now gradually, let's say that they are also trying to bring this online ed sectors. Same thing in COVID time, many organizations have been shut down. COVID time, many organizations have been shut down, including this college. That has also been shut down. Environment. Now once they will open up, so you know that they will have to face altogether different environment. So that is what system theory talks about. So let's write further on this. Let's write defining system. Defining system. Organization itself is considered as system. Organization itself is considered as system. System. Rather than a physical entity as per classical approach, or dynamic entity as per behavioral approach. The term system is defined as a set of subparts of organization, subpart of organization, which are interdependent and interrelated, having permeable boundaries and interaction with environment, which create a unified whole a unified whole view. That is, a system means unified whole concept. Unified whole concept. That an organization is not merely sum of its subparts, or merely sum of formal approach and behavioral approach. Rather, all subparts have interaction among themselves, interaction with outside environment, and resultantly it is the holistic outcome which will determine survival of organization. And hence a system has the above mentioned six features, which have been explained by thinkers in their formulation of system perspective. System perspectives. The system theorists like that is, although it is Bertalanffy general system theory which became basis for formulation of system perspective.
Sir, please can you repeat it?
Although It is Burton-Lanfy general system theory which became basis for formulation of system approach, but it was also due to socio-cybernetic system which profoundly influenced emergence of systems perspective. Because it gave a communication model with feedback system, also known as servo mechanism. Which is a self-adaptable model. Based on that, Norbert Wiener gave clear explanation about system consisting of five components. Input, throughput, output, feedback, environment. Political. That is, let's write. Input is about organizations receiving raw materials, human resource, finances, technology, etc. Throughput is about the process of conversion of raw materials, human resource, technology into output in terms of productivity, production, quality. Throughput is influenced by both internal and external environment. Which is which is innovation over past theoretical developments. Past theoretical developments. That classical approach and behavioral approach largely focused on internal factors determining efficiency and productivity. Efficiency and productivity. But system theory focuses on how environment influences an organization. System theory also focuses on how environment influences organization. For instance, Nokia was the best mobile phone company. Means it was efficient, but it failed to adapt to environment. And hence, even if internally it was efficient, but it failed to survive. Failed to survive. Output. It is about production, productivity, quality of product. At this stage also environment plays a role. At this stage also environment plays a role, that whether the product is relevant to society, relevant to environment. For instance, education system in India, even if it is imparting good education, producing degrees, but they are not necessarily relevant to environment. Because the demand of the environment is different. And that also works as contingent factor in survival of organization. But classical theory was largely focused on production, not whether the product was relevant to environment. Then there is a feedback system. To learn from output and bring changes in input. Hence, it is considered also socio-cybernetic system. Socio is related to environment. Cybernetic is related to communication and feedback. Therefore, an organization when considered as system, it operates in an environment with 5 component models, 5 components model of Norbert Wiener. These 5 components have been followed. These 5 components have been followed by other system theorists. In fact, it is Norbert Wiener model which has become basis to explain system perspective of organization. System perspective of organization. David Easton has named throughput as black box. Throughput as black box in his explanation of political system, which will be told in public policy. Don't read.
So his explanation of it's a bit too fast.
Sir, but you said better Lanfear general system theory was basis for system theory before Norbert Wiener.
See, basically originated. He did not explain again. The person who originates, basically, let's say, the Bertalanffy has not given this way explanation. Bertalanffy is giving biological. He has formulated his system model in biology. What is biology? You know that there is ecosystem. You may have studied in your schooling time food chain and etc. Isn't it? In ecosystem, there is a food chain. They are interrelated. There, input of this become output. Output of this become input, like this. Isn't it? So
Yes, sir.
there is an ecosystem. So basically he was talking about ecosystem, and then in ecosystem he is talking in a very what we can say, a very thin way about how there is interdependence, how there is permeability, how, let's say, that their interdependence are organisms, let's say, that they create synergy. So because interaction of two becomes let's say that a next quality. Like say field, if you have agriculture field experience, there are different types of insects, micro and other organisms. Those micro other small organisms are needed in that field because they help in making the soil fertile. And that soil fertility, let's say, become basis for your crop production. So basically it was, his explanation is more in ecosystem context, not in that clear, let's say, that because that time still this communication system was not developed, cybernetic system. So then he has explained with cybernetic system, because emergence of cybernetic system influence system theory, because then how there is a adaptable model, that is in case of ecosystem, but how it is in the case of organization, how we can explain. In the case of organization, this is Norbert Wiener who has explained by 5 components, and these 5 components are followed by other thinkers. So that way, the originator does not mean, let's say, that here he has originated, but the model is built on his, let's say, 5 components. The system idea is taken from Bertalanffy. Can we say this? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this we do not have we explained, let's say this will talk in public policy model, but we'll take here this already we have told it, this will tell later on separately when we'll talk on this. So let's write now on, let's impact of system perspective on field of organization theory. System perspective was a macro perspective of organization, which integrated formal and behavioral approach and added environmental factor in determining dynamic equilibrium of organization. It also applied concept of negative entropy for survival of organization. That if organizations interact with environment, there would be differentiations within organization, like different units will be created as per environment changes, and then they should adapt to environment. Differentiation plus adaptation is considered negative entropy. Differentiation plus destruction is considered positive entropy.
Differentiation plus
Destruction means failing to adapt is considered positive entropy. Hence, in a way, the theory explained from macro perspective, not merely about efficiency and productivity of organization, but how organization survives to the given environment. So far, organization theories focused on within organization, but system theory is first major theory which focused on outside organization, and therefore it was an innovation in field of organization theory, which had significant impact on course of organization theory, that henceforth, environment became an important focus. Environment became an important focus in formulation of theories. And it further generated research studies like J.D. Thomson formulation of a surplus model of system theory. And emergence of contingency theory of organization, which is also considered as extension of system theory. So this is what we can talk here so far on first part of our intermission. Then second part, so we'll criticize, talk relevance, tell contingency theory. So should we finish? And should we?
Unified whole and organismic whole are same thing?
Yes.
Unified whole and organismic whole are the same?
Yes. So let's take a break, then we'll.
Okay, sir.
So now we'll take on criticisms. So let's write on that first. It is a macro theory of organization. Which ignores micro aspect of organizational factors, micro aspects of organizational factors influencing efficiency and productivity. Next, it is suitable for big organizations facing dynamic environment. Less suitable for small organizations dealing with mechanical works. Hence, it was expected that it would become a unified theory of organization unified theory of organization, that is a theory of organization applicable to all types of organization, but it fails to become a general theory for all organizations. It is very generic. Next. It is very generic, abstract, and also vague, that it fails to explain how organizations should adopt in which situations. Next, although the theory is about dynamic equilibrium, between organization and environment, but its focus is more on how environment influences organization, how environment influences organization, rather than organization influencing environment. Next, it can more work as a descriptive tool. For analysis of problems of organization, rather than a prescriptive tool for solving the problems of organization. So these are some criticisms to systems theory. Any such doubts you can ask, although they are, I guess, obvious. Otherwise, we'll take next.
Sir, please explain feedback mechanism once more in the system theory, like how it works.
Which one?
The feedback mechanism.
Feedback mechanism, how it works.
In system approach.
No, what is your problem?
I mean, sir, after how feedback mechanism works in the entire system theory. Like after the output, how feedback improves the organizational efficiency.
Feedback, it will work in terms of, let's say that we go on reviewing the input. Like, let's say that the question is, what we can say, we gave example of university.
Yes, sir.
So what happens? University input, suppose output. output is that we say that the quality of teaching is a problem. Quality of teaching, let's say, problem. So what we do? Input the teachers. Do we bring change here?
Yes.
In recruitment, in qualification, in terms of training to teachers, in terms of benchmarking standards of teaching. That is how we do.
Yes. Yes.
So this is a feedback. So this feedback results into improvement. Positive example, it is a negative example. Positive example, let's say that output is that ki good quality of project. Good quality of project, organization is able, university is able to deliver. So what it will happen? What feedback it is getting? Here. Feedback is it will get more projects, more contracts, isn't it? It will get more contracts. More contracts means it will hire more personnel, human resource. It will hire more human resource. When it will hire more human resource, internal organization will undergo change. When internal organization will undergo change, so whether it is able to deliver quality, same quality, when there is number of increase in projects, may not necessarily. Quality may go down. Isn't it?
Right, sir.
So that is how the feedback is working in any university. Same thing you can talk about what we say about organization. Any organization. Any organization, let's take. Any organization you can give. You tell any organization, I will give example.
Sir, Indian administration.
Indian administration.
Sir, Lukmaan IAS.
What you are saying? Right.
Only, right?
No, but it's not. It is not going to. You cannot mention that example. Tell any example which makes sense.
Railways.
Right. Good. Railway take.
Or Niti Aayog.
Railway is the best. Good example. Good. It is PSU also, department also, government also, government body also. So that way we can understand. Now, what is the, let's say that any. Now it depends which type of output we want to talk. Right.
Reservation system.
Yes.
Reservation system never get, confirm ticket.
Right. Let's take reservation ticket. So it's, let's say that the demand is input. What is the input? Demand is high.
Yes, sir.
High demand we have. Now it has brought IRCTC. Right. So IRCTC has been brought. For what? Online ticketing. Right. Before that there used to be manual ticketing. Before online, demand is high. To enhance quality of service, it introduces IRCTC, online ticketing. Online ticketing, how it is operating this online ticketing? Yes, its output has improved. Certainly we can say its output has improved. But you know that IRCTC, so it is still, let's say, many a time due to network quality, and there are also certain types of you can say ticketing mafias, you will find that, and reserving ticket, etc., that kind of thing. So there can be some problem related to IRCTC. Technology, in terms of technology, let's say, or in terms of speed of that technology. Can we say this?
Yes, sir.
So now you get the feedback when you get, so then what? It has to further improve. The feedback it is getting that it has improved from manual ticketing to online ticketing, tremendous improvement, but still it is not to the citizen satisfaction.
Right, sir.
So then it will have to further, what it will have to do? It will have to further improve the technology. Right. So what technology it has come up with? App. Right. One separate app for ticketing.
Yes, sir. UTS.
Right. So that is what continuous process will find that. So there is a continuous process, but still you will find that demand supply is always there is deficit. Demand is more, supply is less. It is trying to improve, it is trying to cope up.
The environment changing very rapidly than changes in that organization.
Yes, you'll find that environment changes like say that the kind of, let's say, the distance you suffer from Delhi to Hyderabad, if you go by train, the cost of, let's say, that fare is almost equal to Delhi to Hyderabad flight. If you happen to take the benefit of Udan, or let's say that you happen to reserve 1 month in advance. No, new challenge, what it will do?
Dynamic pricing also.
So dynamic pricing, so this is what we'll find that organizations are getting feedback continuously changing. If it will not change, it will not survive.
Sir, cleanliness can be example of railway in a positive sense.
Yes?
Cleanliness can be the example for railway in positive sense.
The first term you are speaking not clearly audible. What you are saying?
Cleanliness.
Yes, cleanliness you are talking. Right. So what? It is good or bad?
Sir, not up to the mark. And we can't, blame for this railway.
Sir,
we are also responsible for this.
Different stations or different states have different type of cleanliness.
It depends on train also.
It depends on train also. It is contracted out basically. It has been contracted out. So now contracting out is not necessarily efficient. This is the feedback you get.
Sir, I was talking for the railway stations, right? Railway stations, like they are getting the feedback and it is improving.
Yes.
That is also contracting out, sir.
So there is system, yes, that citizen charter is started in railway in 1996 itself, letterbox, and you can write letterbox means you can complaints etc. Right. To get feedback.
Sir, railway catering also.
Yes, railway catering, a number of things. Right. So there is a process. Since it is a big institution, big organization, so it is said that it is too big to govern effectively, so let's divide it. Unbundling, the way power sector happens, generation, distribution, transmission. Similarly, railway sector, the railway should be divided, manufacturing separate, passenger, let's say that transportation separate, so freight separate. So dividing Indian Railway, this into 3 different units, rather than 1 unit, so that will enhance it will enhance its competitiveness and efficiency. So that way, let's see, this is how the approach going on. So there is process, means things are based on feedback today. We will have necessarily feedback. How much we learn from feedback, that is a very different thing. But there is feedback. And there is pressure also on the government or any private organization to change.
Sir, what is it? Negative entropy, sir?
See, entropy means disintegration, isn't it? इससे ज़्यादा मुझे भी याद नहीं है फिजिक्स वाला क्या होता है.
सर थर्मोडायनेमिक्स में अलग मीनिंग होता है, हीट से रिलेटेड है सर.
ठीक है.
एंथैल्पी, एंट्रोपी.
Randomness and disintegration, that is how it happens. So entropy means randomness, you can say, or disintegration. Here we mean disintegration.
Negative entropy means that we have
so entropy, which means randomness or disintegration, so that can be considered also positive entropy. Entropy, positive. Negative is just opposite of disintegration, adaptability. and that is why we are saying negative. ऐसा कोई concept नहीं means here to refer it adaptability, negative entropy is told. The sense or the relevance of telling you deliberately entropy is कि you will write in your answer one technicality which will let's say be making your answer right. Otherwise it has no any relevance, right? Is it clear?
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.